Ladies and gentlemen, I got a specialty Chinese name that I'm going to show you exactly how I'm going to trade tomorrow, our precise daily stock levels, our game plan in Forex, as well as our full stock analysis. I am Mark Melnick, and this is the Newsbeat Show. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Newsbeat Show. So, we have a few very interesting things happening here. I'm going to literally share with you how I'm going to trade a specialty Chinese name. I know some of you people in the room trade it here, but I tend to not trade it because honestly, I just don't like trading the name. And the pure magical name in which I am going to trade most likely phenomenally consistently tomorrow. Bang. And there you go. It's Baozun. It's a specialty retail company that's reporting tomorrow, and I'm not sure if you've traded this name before. It does normal volume. I mean, you get 1, 2, 3, 4 million shares on a day in and day out basis. Generally speaking, obviously, there's going to be a lot more volume than that tomorrow, and I just felt it was a pretty interesting Monday. I actually Ironically, I actually took a $350 loss approximately. Could have been like between 350 and I think 358. Just rounded off. I basically took a $350 loss today. And it's just one of those situations where everything except for one thing like went wrong. And I looked over my trades and I'm smiling because I was actually proud of myself for doing the right thing. And that's, I think, one of the most important things for traders is it seems when traders make money, they always do the smart thing. But then if you're down money, traders tend to overtrade. Well, we're going to talk about fixing that too tonight. I know it's not on our agenda, but we just basically want to give you as much as possible here on our game plan. So, just going back to the charts here on Bozun, I did want to share with you exactly how I'm going to make money trading this name tomorrow. It's so easy, it almost looks illegal. It's so easy, it almost looks illegal. Now, granted, um, there's nothing illegal about it, but I want to show you something. I want to show you something about Bozun, and we're going to talk about the last four times they reported. And we're going to start off on May 17th, which was they reported May 17th morning. So here's May 16th. Stock opened up higher the next day, and I want you to notice something here on this chart. You notice how it opened up at 47.50, hit a day low of 47.33, and just basically went up the entire day. You see that? You see how you opened up near the low and went up the entire day? What if you were long at the bottom? Or not at the bottom, the open, which is as close to the bottom as possible. Would have put you in a good situation, right? Bear with me. I'm going to show you more. Let's go to the last time they reported earnings before that was on March 6th. So they reported March 6th morning. Here's March 5th close. The next day they gapped up, opened up at $41. You see the day low, $40.75. So the day low in this case was 25 cents lower than where it opened. And this is going to create a monstrous opportunity tomorrow, regardless of where it gaps. Bear with me. So if you bought it near the open, in March, you would have been up money. Heck, maybe you didn't catch the 7.5 plus $7.75 move to the upside. Maybe you caught $1 of that. See, I'm remaining modest with my expectations. Let's move forward to November 21st, where they reported earnings the third time before the three times ago. So here the stock reported on November 20, reported actually on November 21st after hours, and then opened up the next day at 33.50, hit a high of 34.40, meaning if you bought it out, if you shorted it on the open, and understand, why am I saying you go long off the open or go short off the open? Because if it gaps up, the following move was up. If you gap down, the following move was down. So when I'm saying you short this one off the open, it's because it gapped down. When I said you will go long the other two off the open, it's because it gapped up. And I'll explain exactly what my strategy is going to look like tomorrow. So right here you see it opened up at 33.50 after gapping down a couple points approximately, and it hit a high of 33.40. So it went against you potentially 90 cents before it would have gone in your favor, approximately $6. See what I'm getting at here? Okay, let's move on along. How about the fourth time before that? All this just looks like a big fluke, Mark. Well, it isn't. Last time they reported was after hours on August 21st. Remember, they do report in China, so Chinese reporting standards are tend to be sometimes mixed, meaning sometimes they'll report after US hours and then pre-market US hours. Here's August 21st. They report. Next day opens up lower. So what are you thinking? You're thinking short. Opened up at 32.40. What is the day high if you shorted it at the open? 32.52. See what I'm getting at here? So, based on the last four times that Baozun reported, right over here, if you bought it off the open, off a gap up, the last time, right over here, if you bought this off the gap up, if you bought this, I mean, at the open, like market opens 9:30, bang, you're long. If it gaps up, market opens up, it's down, bang, you're short. So simple, right? So right off the open, if it gaps up, you're long off the open. If it gaps down right here, you're short off the open. If it gaps down right here, you're short off the open. So if you were able to do that, you would be up money every single time. In the last four times with very minimal risk. I'm showing you the risk that's going against you in the worst case scenario. And of course, I'm considering you got the opening print, which you could have maybe even done better or worse. I mean, I don't know exactly the pennies that printed in between there, but you get the picture. You get the picture, and it's very easy to understand that Baozun is going to have massive volume. Would not be surprised in Baozun. I would be shocked if we do less than 14 million shares tomorrow. So don't think I'm picking some little corny, crappy name. I would be, I'll come on tomorrow and be like, guys, this thing did less than 14 million shares tomorrow. Well, did they shut the market down for some unknown reason during the middle of the day? Like that would be my next question. The stock is going to do volume tomorrow. It's off of earnings. Wow. Eureka. But how do we trade it? Well, part of me is saying just take a share size off the. If it gaps up tomorrow, I don't even care if it gaps up 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 points. If it gaps down 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 points, I could go long or I could go short shares at the open. That's what history has proven in Baozun in the past. But what if there was another way to apply the methodologies that we do so consistently in the room and apply it to Baozun tomorrow? What if there was that strategy? Hold on, the screen will go black for just a second. I'm still here with you. I'm just going to go ahead and grab over that screen where the strategy will be present. You could see it right over here. I am going to do the one and done strategy. Part one is already taken care of. I'm going to interpret the earnings tomorrow on Baozun, positive if it gaps up or negative if it gaps down. Very simple. I already took care of step one of the one and done strategy. Now, based on this, I'm obviously not going to buy it off the open or short it at the open because I am looking for a one and done strategy. For me, I don't want to talk about odds because I don't have the statistical analysis of the 1 minute chart on every earnings prior. If you want me to take a guess, I would say this strategy, if you're looking to scalp shares at least, should work about all the time. About all the time. Meaning, if you execute the strategy properly, you're not getting some stupid print, you're not trying to buy at $55 and you bought at 56 and a half, or I don't even know if that's possible, but maybe you're that person. As long as you don't do something obnoxious and you actually apply this one and done strategy correctly, I would say that you would make money just about every single time trading Baozun tomorrow. I think that is a very important thing to note. I think that is a very, very, very important thing to note. And I want to go over just real quickly some of the trades I did today. And one of the trades I did was I did the one and done, and I opened up the morning up really nicely. I bought Tesla through 359.96, and it jumped to 363 in 2 minutes. Literally, in 2 minutes, I was up 3 points, or I was in options. My options didn't move $3, but they moved a lot enough where I was up money based on a $3 plus move in Tesla right in the morning. And I was able to capitalize on that. So I started the day off green, and then what happened was I traded Tesla on the high five here, and it was kind of interesting because you saw like this crazy volume tail come in, and Tesla literally shot up about 85, 86 cents in my favor before coming down and then just eventually stopping me out. And it just felt like it was one of those situations where if I just grabbed the money like really quick, if I just literally bought it and said, hey, Mark, you're up, you know, 5, 10, 15, because Tesla calls on a Monday, don't go up percentage that much. If you're up like 5, 10% on your money, you threw a couple $1,000, you're up $200, let's say, and I was willing to take that, I would have made money on this Tesla. I do find it interesting because, believe it or not, that was being stubborn for me. And in this case, it actually didn't work. Now, another name that was on our radar this morning, which in this trade I did not do, was the one and done on Mylan, which a lot of you guys caught early, and you're buying through 38.26, and the stock rallied well over a point. This is a 1 minute chart, by the way. So applying the one and done on our names this morning would have worked out well. The irony behind this, of course, being that Tesla was actually not on my list. So when I actually do the statistical analysis in which I record the results of my one and done strategy, I only apply them to these names. So for example, ENDP was another one of our one and done strategies, and it worked based on the methodology. Wasn't pretty in the beginning, but it worked. You bought through 15.13, you had your stop here all the way at day lows, and it climbed up all the way to the 15.40, Sendo. It worked on the one and done. Then we had pizza on the one and done. And this one worked. Right over here, you could buy through 40.89 and the stock got to 41.48 in a matter of 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 minutes. And it would have never stopped you out using the methodology. And then you could have done Endo, and Mylan was actually the best one. So ironically, God, I don't want to use a dirty word. I basically traded Tesla because I like the volume and I like the news and I thought it was going to resolve bullishly, and to me it did, and we can even go over that. But I just want to show you how the one and done actually worked on our names today, and it worked across the board on 100% of them. And I think it's only fair to show you this because, again, when I tell you a strategy is right, for example, the high five list, I did the statistical analysis. You could see right here, it's right 72.9, let's call it 73% of the time. So basically, about seven, if I do it 10 times, I'll generally be right 7, if I'm lucky, maybe 8 times out of the 10. And today was definitely one of those days where the high five didn't actually make me money. And the one and done actually worked 100% of the time. But the irony between the high five and the one and done, I know it sounds nuts, but the one and done is far superior, consistently speaking, than the high five strategy. 83.1%. And I have news for you, ladies and gentlemen. Those numbers are a month old. Those numbers actually went up this month. Those numbers actually will be going up this month based on the results I've seen. It's insane. It's right well over 8 out of 10 times on our names. So I'm sitting here, and you might ask the question, Mark, why would you do a strategy? Why wouldn't you just do that strategy if you're right 83% of the time, let's say 80% of the time, as opposed to 72.9, or let's just call it 70% of the time? Why wouldn't you just do an 80% of the time correct strategy as opposed to a 70% of the time right strategy? And there's a very simple answer for that, because I'll make money overall on both of the strategies. And I don't want to pigeonhole myself and be stuck with one thing. I want as many tools as possible to capitalize on the market. But I just need you guys to understand that the one and done might be the most consistent strategy in existence today in the market when it comes to trading every single day. I have seen black box strategies that made money 100% of the time this year and throughout 7 trades. I kid you not. Like, I've saw this strategy. They're showing me, like, oh, how often does your strategy work? Well, so far this year, we have a 100% success rate. You know, my first question is, how many times did it trigger? 7. Gotcha. You know how many times my one and done triggered? Hundreds, 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 hundreds. Well over 400 times already. You see the difference? So, yeah, it's a very big deal when you have my sample size to use the number 83% or anything over 70%. So I get that. But with that being said, just want to go over the high five strategies in this. Here's the endo high five strategy popped up. It obviously worked. Um, But the problem with the endo high five strategy, why it's not being recorded, is the stock must, it was an upgrade name on our list. You see how it says endo P upgrade? It was actually my favorite name this morning, too. Ironically, I put 3 pluses next to it. And choose a name with positive or negative news. And here is the step where it didn't happen. So because it was positive news, the stock had to gap up above the exponential 8. Notice it opened up below the exponential 8 today, and that actually removes it from my results. So I don't consider it working, even though the first 5 minute bar broke up. I actually consider it non-existent. Like there's no, there's no recording of this one because it gapped open below the exponential 8. You're supposed to ignore it. Let's take the next high five strategy. Pizza would have failed. You would have bought through 41.30. You would have gotten as high as 41.48. If you didn't take that 18 cents, you were getting stopped out. You were getting stopped out underneath 40.64 here. You would have gotten stopped out before it eventually headed higher. So I will record pizza as a loss. Mylan, I also consider a loss. The irony with this Mylan was I was up 15% of my options on this little bounce here above 60 cents and I didn't take it. Do I consider this a fail? Yes. Yes, I do. Even though I could have made money on it, I consider that a fail because it continued down. And that's the one I tried. So 100% of my ideas, if I was willing to take meager returns like between 5 and 12% on my options, would have paid off immediately, instant gratification. However, I was looking for further moves. When I look back at this Mylan chart, I actually think I did the right thing by not selling out initially, given the fact that the information we had sort of looked like this before we were buying into it. We sort of just saw this bull flag digestive pattern over the exponential 8. And as a result, um, I ended up holding it, hoping we would retest day highs. I thought there was a very good chance we would, and we didn't. So interesting, interesting. After a few weeks of whatever, couple weeks of straight green days, I do have a red day. Again, I highly doubt I'm not going to be consistent for well over 90% of my days this year, especially in August to September. Like we still have like a third of the year left, but I think it's very important to keep the mentality that you still want to be consistent. And if you lost money on some of these ideas, you're good because all you have to do is look back last week and say, well, I made money on this, and it should way outclass your losses. And looking back at this, I actually don't feel I did anything wrong. I think one of the biggest mistakes that traders do on their down days is they actually start over trading. And I did want to get into that, even though, for example, it wasn't on our list. I told you guys how I'm going to trade Baozun tomorrow. You guys know I'm going to be taking those 1 minute ideas. But what if you ask me, Mark, well, how are you going to trade? How do you avoid making the mistake of overtrading when you're down money. And again, I keep these completely anonymous, but I had a good 45-minute call with a trader who suffers from psychological toxicity. And this trader, again, I will never drop a name. I keep it 100% anonymous. I'm only here to help you. This trader, one of the things that um, this trader has done is he was averaging down in a position in the market when it goes against him. So anytime a position goes against him, he averages down. I have dealt with, I don't know, I would have to make a number up how many traders I've dealt with in my life. 50, 60, 70, 80,000. Considering I'm a broadcaster in my career, how many traders I've seen and at least have known their name at one point in my life. So many people, so many traders. And I will tell you this. If you are that trader who averages down all the time and gets stuck in those positions, you know what is the one thing all these traders shared in common? I'm going to let you guess right now. Go ahead and guess. What is, and I'm asking my room hundreds and hundreds of traders, how, what do you think is the one thing in common that all these traders have that average down in positions? People are saying they all blew, Colonel, they all blew out. Martin, they're all broke. Clay, fear of loss. Fear of, broke. They don't trade anymore. They're men. They take huge losses. There are two things in common. They're all human. Thank you, Colton. Well, how can you be sure, Colton? How could anyone be sure? I did not do DNA testing on them. But what if they were such an advanced species that their DNA could replicate a human DNA, hiding what they are? Okay. There's one thing they all had in common. Yes, actually, what Gary is saying is correct, even though I wasn't thinking about it. A, they're all men. And B, that is correct. B, they all trade common stock mainly. They all mainly did. They were all trading common shares of stock while they were doing it. Do you find that funny? And I don't even, I mean, I could guess thousands and thousands and thousands of traders have come to me with this problem. It's not a unique issue, it's common. But every single one of those traders who are averaging into positions who got themselves in trouble are buying common shares of stock. So, what is the solution? What is the solution do you think I gave them? What would you guess the solution is? If all of these, well, I wasn't going to recommend sex reassignment surgery because they were all men. But what was actually the advice? That's right. Options. Yes, Jack. Yes, Colonel. Options. So, for some reason, and yes, I know you could double down with options. For some reason, when these traders switch over from common stock to options, they don't make that mistake anymore. Do you find that funny? What is it about options that let traders take a measured loss beforehand? You bet 500 bucks on options, you're going to lose 500 bucks no matter what the hell happens to the position. Goes bankrupt, you hold, you're stubborn, you're on a good day, you're on a bad day, you're pissed, you're happy. You want to know the key to not blowing out? Don't trade a stock more than one time, two times if you're using my strategies, but don't trade a stock more than once. Don't. Once you buy it, got a bad price, got a good price. I was the trader who would buy in more shares on dips, look for new support levels and double in, and look for new support levels and double in. And I will tell you, looking back at it now, I would say the majority of the time I was able to get myself from red to break even. You want to know the funny thing? I can prove this to you. How many of you traders out there who once you average in, once your position is back to break even, You have to get rid of it all right there because you're so happy to see, a break-even P&L on your screen. You're just like, oh my God. It's not like you bought something, you're down money, you bought more, you're down money, you bought more, you're down money, you bought more, and now you break even. You're like, oh, thank you. Bye-bye. Whoo, thank you so much. So it's kind of funny that that's the way it works out. Once you start talking to whatever you believe in and you start praying while you're in a position down money, that's the first sign that you need help. That is the first sign that you need help. So, what am I offering for you guys? As a one time offer, I will tell you how it is. You email me, mark.melnick@t3live.com. I am spending no more than 5 minutes on the phone with you, and I'm going to tell you how I feel about the situation. And maybe I can help you. Maybe I can help you. If you want, more than welcome to reach out to me at mark.melnick@t3live.com. We could talk through email. We could talk on the phone. I'm not charging you for it. I know there's coaching sessions. It is a coaching session unofficially. And I know it could be a huge moneymaker for someone like me because, I could charge $1,000 and I'll get them. I'll book up. I'll book up for the year at $1,000 an hour. But not to sound conceited, just being honest because people have been offering that for me. I'm doing it for free. All right. I'm not spending an hour with you, but I am giving it to you for free. And if you do want my help and you do have that problem and you do want to get back on track, maybe talking to a professional, consistent trader, one of the probably most consistent traders that you'll ever meet or talk to, maybe I can help get you back on course. Maybe you're that person who's going through a relationship problem. Maybe your wife or husband is nagging you because they don't see the future in this career and they think it's gambling and maybe it's horrible. And maybe you want to speak to somebody who got divorced over this, who got divorced over trying to find that consistency, got up out of it and moved my life forward. Maybe you need to talk to somebody who didn't wake up one day, go in the toilet and drop, roses and fresh flowers in the toilet before flushing. Maybe, my stuff stinks like everyone else's. Maybe I've been through there. Maybe I climbed up, and maybe you need to speak to somebody who's been through that garbage in life. And maybe that's going to be the person that helps pick you up out of whatever ditch you're in. And believe me, if you're in that ditch right now, you're the last person who could afford to pay me for a phone consultation. And I understand that and I respect that. And I'm not even asking it from you, whether you're in my room or not. Mark.melnick@t3live.com. Let's see if we could do something good in the world. Our precise daily stock levels, right over here. Support, resistance. All these support and resistance levels. If you notice, the spider resistance level from the other day worked almost perfectly today. A lot of these levels are working. A lot of you guys utilize these levels. You want to know the levels I keep nearby when I need to find true support and resistance? You want to know what my levels look like when I'm trying to follow the major FANG names in the major ETFs? This is where I go to. And I share them with you every single day. How about my game plan? What name am I looking for a breakout and follow through? Well, kind of an interesting name here. I'm watching Nanometrics and I'm looking for a breakout of today's high. It's kind of funny, as I was telling you guys, remember in the room that we were going to break down here, hit the exponential 8, then bounce. We actually hit the exponential 8 for the first time today and then exploded up. Isn't that funny how that works? Very bullish in this name. You brought it up yesterday to me. I told you guys I loved it, and it just randomly outperformed. 45.34, your follow through to the upside. I'm looking for a break of today's high in Nanometrics. How about my Forex ideas? I got not Forex ideas, but I got a Forex idea. Not a lot on my radar here this morning. I just have a buy order here, US standard lot size here. Here's the symbol I'm looking to trade. Here's the price I'm looking to enter at. Here's my stop loss if I'm wrong. Here's my take profit if I'm right. You'll notice that I'm risking a little more on the stop loss side than I'm willing to take profit on. Yes, I do understand that, but this is the best idea I have, and I do think it's worth it. If I had no ideas, I'd give you no ideas. This is the only one idea I have, and you're more than welcome to do as you please, obviously for educational purposes only. So it comes that time. This time comes 5 days a week between Sunday and Thursday. It comes after we're done telling you exactly how I'm going to trade Baozun tomorrow, how exactly the strategy I'm going to share with you. Whether you're in the room or not, you'll know exactly how I'm going to trade Baozun tomorrow. You know exactly what levels that I'm watching tomorrow in case major stocks hit those levels. You know how to reach out to somebody who gives an SHIT about you if you are that person who is drowning in a hole and needs somebody to just lend a hand and pick you up. Trading is a team game. Do not be the solo trader. That is why we have the Newsbeat live community. That is why we're a family of traders, and that's why we look after our own very well. There is a reason, and a very good one, ladies and gentlemen, why the Newsbeat live room is the fastest growing trading room in the nation. Happy trading, make money. We'll see you guys next time on the Newsbeat live trading broadcast. Have a wonderful evening.